The teardown of the OnePlus A6 is here. Let's open it up and see which of the sub-brands Three Musketeers has better materials. Also, why are so many people online concerned about that line in the middle of the motherboard? There's no issue with that, right? The OnePlus A16 was purchased for $26.99 for everyone to do a teardown. Which of this year's sub-brand Three Musketeers are you all interested in buying? The design of the A6 in this quicksilver color is really layered. From different angles, the Ace lettering shifts between dark blue and bright silver. The camera deco has also abandoned the previous watch design and has become the rounded rectangle deco of the entire new series. Compared to the previous design, I wonder which one you think looks better. Additionally, this generation still features a metal frame. However, this is no longer an advantage, as sometimes the competitor also uses a metal frame. So, which design do you prefer between the iQOO Neo 11 and the OnePlus A6? Personally, I think iQOO did a really good job this time, especially with the depth of the camera on the screen. The OnePlus A6 has a 1.5K resolution with a super high refresh rate of 165Hz, which is priced at a premium. The iQOO Neo 11, on the other hand, has a 2K resolution with a 144Hz super high refresh rate, so iQOO's resolution is higher. I'm curious if people value resolution or refresh rate more. Let's make a comparison of the luminance of these two displays. To the unaided eye, it appears that the OnePlus Ace 6 exhibits greater brightness, whereas in terms of darkness, the iQOO seems to be darker. The black bezels of both displays are quite similar. Now that we have examined the exterior, let us proceed to inspect the internal configuration of this smartphone. At this particular price range, there are inevitably some compromises. Let's proceed and initiate the disassembly. After heating and prying open the back cover, the waterproof adhesive on the A6 is quite tight since the OnePlus A46 now supports IP66 to IP69K waterproofing. As for the back cover, it's made of glass, which is great. Compared to fiberglass, I still prefer glass, and the entire back of the cover is covered with graphene for cooling. In the middle of the back cover, there's a large strip of cushioning foam, though I'm not sure what it's for. Now, with the internal structure of this phone reaching a score of 91, what score would you give it? Now proceed to remove the motherboard cover. Adjacent to the camera opening, this compact black frame encompasses several functions, such as the light sensor, flash, and infrared remote control, all situated within this specific area. The flash can be seen as a single tone flash. The difference between a single tone and dual tone flash is that with a dual tone flash, the skin tone of people in photos appears more rosy and realistic. And then this line on the right is its NFC coil. The coverage area across the left and right is decent, and the lower part, as expected, doesn't have a wireless charging coil. However, they did make a semicircle there. For this level of device, not having wireless charging is quite normal. Let's continue to look at the motherboard part, starting by removing the camera. The main camera is a 1156-inch 50-megapixel IMX906, which is the same sensor as the previous generation OnePlus E45. The ultra-wide camera is 8 megapixels, also the same as the previous generation. I won't even mention the front camera, because zero users of the OnePlus A6 care about its front camera performance. However, the front camera seems to be slightly larger than the ultra-wide camera. In terms of overall imaging configuration compared to the previous generation, it lacks a 2-megapixel macro camera. However, I think this is a good thing, as removing that redundant camera can free up more space for the motherboard. As for the photo quality, it's about the same as the iQOO Neo 11, with both sides only supporting 2x native zoom. As for the photo effect, everyone can just take a look at this comparison. Now let's remove the motherboard. There's a detail here, which is that next to the power cable, there's insulating tape applied to prevent leakage. This craftsmanship is indeed very meticulous. On the reverse side, the shielding cover is managed excellently. You can observe a circular arrangement of cushioning foam surrounding it. The chance of damage when the motherboard is dropped is lessened. The motherboard uses a Bow standard single layer design, which helps with heat dissipation. The single layer motherboard itself is commendable, and even if the camera isn't top notch, it's still worth it. The processor is the last generation's flagship Snapdragon 8 Ultra, paired with self-developed touch and network chips, all in one. It's great for gaming. The RAM is top tier LPDDR5X. The Ultra transmission rate has directly achieved a remarkable 9600 Mbps. Some individuals might express concerns regarding the coaxial cable present on the motherboard, so allow me to clarify. The coaxial cable and flying wire are entirely distinct. The coaxial cable is specifically utilized for signal transmission. It runs directly across, offering the shortest possible path with reduced latency compared to winding paths. Alright, let's proceed to remove the top speaker. You can observe that the top speaker is a 1012 specification speaker from AAC Technologies, which remains consistent with the earlier generation Ace 5. It features an ingenious design where the top speaker is sealed off and then integrated with a ring of rubber on the motherboard cover to create a closed enclosure. These two small white blocks can also assist in reducing vibration and noise. Now let's remove the stabilizer. As for the bottom speaker, it's also from AAC Technologies with the 1115 specification, which is consistent with the previous generation. The bottom speaker is considerably larger than the top one. Could this asymmetrical design lead to an imbalance in sound perception? Let's compare it with the iQOO Neo 11. Okay, after listening, who do you think has better sound quality? I showed you a small board and the craftsmanship is indeed very meticulous. First, around the inline socket of the cable, everything is protected with soft silicone and the small components on the subboard are also treated with adhesive. Details determine success or failure. As for the counterfeit transmission rate, it's at a USB 2.0 speed, which is differentiated from their Flagship series, as it hasn't been upgraded to USB 3.2. For those who have taken apart the motor, you might have already noticed that this is an 0809 motor from AAC Technologies. Some might wonder, how did OnePlus abandon its tradition of having a super strong motor? Hold on, the previous generation Ace 5 actually also used the 0809 motor. Now how do we remove the battery? The A46 battery uses a dual cell single interface design. Because it uses dual cells, it supports the 120W fast charging, which is quite rare for this generation of phones. You can see that each cell is 3900 mAh, bringing the total capacity to an impressive 7800 mAh. This battery is the largest among the same level in the sub-brands Redmi, iQOO and OnePlus, with the Ace 6 at 7800 mAh, Neo 11 at 7500 mAh, and K90 at 7100 mAh. Initially mentioned, the cushioning foam on the back cover is to fill the gap of the dual battery cells, preventing the back cover from sounding hollow when tapped. Okay, this is the internal family photo of the OnePlus 16. You can take a screenshot and now let's reassemble the phone. The biggest highlight of the OnePlus Ace 6's overall upgrade this generation is the 7800 mAh large battery. It's quite impressive. The A46's other peripheral configurations are nearly on par with the Ace 5, except for the upgraded processor to the previous flagship Snapdragon 8 Ultimate. If you want a balanced experience beyond battery life, consider the previous flagship, the OnePlus 13. Its imaging and other configurations are stronger, with the same processor as the Ace 6, the Snapdragon 8 Ultimate, though its battery isn't as large as 7000 mAh. I checked the OnePlus 13, and the second-hand price on Zhuanzhuan is just over $2,300, which is $2,100 cheaper than its initial release. Each phone has passed several quality checks, ensuring reliability. Teardown done. Among this year's 3 big upgrades, Ace with a big battery, K90 with a small telephoto lens, and Neo 11 with 2K 144. Which would you pick? Discuss in the comments.